guys. You should be able to, if you have a question, managers want to chime in, you can *6 and get back in. Otherwise, we'll leave the lines muted until the end of the call. Then we'll open it up for questions and answers. Appreciate you guys joining us today. We're going to go over the HCS, but what I wanted to do today, guys, is talk a little bit about our industry. We got a lot of new agents with us, new to the industry, maybe new to this product. A lot of major med guys are on here, like myself, was in the major med business for about 25, 30 years. I think it's very important, if we're professionals in this industry, is that we understand this industry that we're professionals in. How did we get here? Well, and why is Philadelphia doing so well, and the agents that understand this product are doing so well? It's because simply we're a solution to a serious problem. All you have to do is pick up the newspaper, turn on the TV. In the last 10 to 15 years is nothing but this is the biggest crisis in the country. The family health care premium is the largest financial burden on the American family and small business owner. It exceeded the home mortgage payment about 12 years ago. Rate increases 20, 30% a year for 10, 15 years in a row. Obviously, nobody's fixed the problem. It's a complex problem, but it's really very fixable, and we're the tip of the spear, guys. We've been educating people how to get their health care costs under control for years, and now it's exciting to see the country. We're starting to get a lot of competition, and just so you'll know, a lot of guys are copying or trying to copy Philadelphia American. We'll be in future trainings pulling those guys up and comparing them with our products. You guys are educated on the difference between our product and them. But when you understand the industry, and matter of fact, let me just do this. I'm going to pull up an article to show you guys why we're in this situation. Change, we're going through a change right now, and it depends on where you look at this. There's a lot of variables here, but as you can see here, we'll just go down right here. Let me see here. Okay, right here. The average individual health premium in 2017 is $393. This is not deductibles and co-insurance, just health premium for an individual. And in 2017, now in 2013 is $197. That's a 99% increase, guys, in 3 or 4 years. Okay, so you're looking at 20% rate increases across the board. As you come down here, as you can see, your family health premium. Let me see here. In 2000, right here it is. Hold on a minute. Let me find it here. I'm having a little problem with my computer. Okay. The family health premium, excuse me, guys, I'm having a little bit of trouble here. Let me find it. For 4 people is going to be, in 2018, is going to be upwards around $28,000, okay, for a family of 4. So, find it here. The $28,000 for a family of 4, I'm not sure where that's at, but it's up here somewhere. But anyway, long story short is we've got a serious problem with the health insurance industry. And when you understand the industry and the problems in it, we look at major medical that 10 years ago, as we know, everything was outlawed. Surgical plans were outlawed, catastrophic plans, and we went through the Affordable Care Act about 10 years ago, isn't it, Dave? Yeah, 2010? Yeah. And just as we suspected, your major medicals all monopolized the industry, the big boys, the Blues, the Humanas, the United Healthcare, Cignas. There's just a handful, guys, 5 or 6 of them. And you can jump between the 5 and 6 of them all you want, but their business model is exactly the same. And they've monopolized the industry, and until recently, that's all you could have was a major medical policy. Now, obviously, we've slipped through the cracks with our indemnity product, ended up going to court and winning, so we've been doing well in this industry. But when you understand how the model of a major medical policy, for those of you who don't know how it works, the younger agents, you have a huge deductible that the consumer has to pay first, and then they have to co-insure, and then obviously they're paying a huge premium. So what they do is they hire a third-party company, let's say a Blue Cross, and the consumer is paying a third-party organization all this money every year so that they can go pay their medical bills if they have medical bills. Well, the major medical carrier goes and negotiates discounts with the PPO networks, and they tell the PPO networks, we're going to drive the clients to you, we're going to fill your chairs, but we want a huge discount behind the scenes, and those discounts are anywhere from 40 to 60%, as we know. They don't give that to the consumer. That is their profit. That's their profit, how they make their profit. And all these major medical plans, they're all the same. They all meet their profit margins each year, and it's very easy for them to do that because they're going to drive the consumers to the PPO networks. The consumer has an environment there. If they don't go to that network, they're going to double their deductible or triple it. And the average family premium or deductible, is about $8,000 now. So if you don't go to the doctors we tell you to go to, you're going to have a $16,000 or a $24,000 deductible. It's all solved. Question solved. No more questions. They're going to go to the PPO network. They have no idea what anything costs, don't care what anything costs because they've got to meet their deductible and coinsurance every year before they get a return on their investment. So you've got an industry where the end user, the consumer, does not know or care what anything costs. There's no other industry in the history of industries in the world where the consumer, you and I, just buys a product without having any idea what it costs. And people walk out of the hospital every day, they have no idea what their bill is. Now, they hear these overinflated, huge 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times markups because there's no price regulation. And the major medical policies need the consumers to not know what anything costs. Because if they think let's say a heart bypass, or let's say a pacemaker is priced at $100,000, it's actually $9,000. As long as they think it's $100,000, they think their $8,000 deductible is a good deal. But if they know it's $9,000, the rest of that is markup, they're going to have a whole different opinion of their $8,000 deductible, and that $28,000 are given to Blue Cross every year. So Blue Cross can go pay their medical bills for them. So you're putting in an outside company in between the patient and the doctor relationship. So that's with a lot of bureaucracy, and it opens up doors for fraudulent billing and a lot of things like that. So that's why you have this ridiculously overpriced health premiums going up year after year after year. And we all know, guys, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing year after year and expecting different results. So what's going to fix the healthcare crisis in this country is a couple things. You're going to have to do business with a carrier that is focused on being a solution or creating a solution to the problem instead of being the problem. Because if you think that the Blue Crosses and these huge companies with all their lobbyists that have monopolized the industry, if you think that they've had this business model for 50 years, and if you think they're going to change their business model to save me and you some money and the consumer a bunch of money, then I've got some oceanfront property in Arizona I want to talk to you about. It's just never going to happen, okay? So the companies that are going to take care of this industry are the new companies coming up with a different business model. So we're going to go over our business model today and how it is very different than your traditional major medical, which is our competition. This is a new PowerPoint they brought in this morning, so we're going to kind of go over it. And, again, we'll kind of compare this to your traditional major medicals as we go along. The Health Choice Select, guys, we're a defined benefit plan. And where we're different is just like the major medical policies, we will go contract with the national PPO networks, just like they do. That costs us money to sign up with PPO, with PHCS. Philadelphia American purchases PHCS and gets those huge negotiations just like the major medicals do. The difference is we purchase that PPO network and we give it to the consumer. That 40 to 60% discount is passed straight to the consumer. And everything with our policy is we show you everything that we pay, okay? So it's complete transparent. You know everything we pay. So we incentivize the consumer not by penalizing them by not going to the network, but by incentivizing them to go to the network. So what that does is that opens them up to shop anytime. We're developing an intelligent consumer. And these consumers can shop, and if they know they can get an MRI for $450 instead of $2,000, they'll go get a $450 MRI. So what they're doing with us, yes, they're hiring us, but we're giving them the money to pay their medical bills, and we're more than happy to send that money to the doctor or hospital for them. Okay? So the Health Choice Select, guys, it's a defined benefit plan. It pays exactly what it pays. The consumer knows what it pays before they ever go to the doctor or hospital. Benefits are paid specific amounts and do not provide expense reimbursements. Very different than your traditional major medical. So we're going to eliminate the deductible and coinsurance. With your major medicals, about 95% of all your claims will apply towards that huge deductible. Now, they will give you some doctor visits or some mammograms, some physicals and things like that, but any large claim is going to apply towards your deductible. The consumer's going to have to eat that up before the insurance company gets involved. With us, we're going to eliminate your deductible or create an environment where you eliminate your deductible, you'll eliminate your coinsurance, you pass on the repricing to the consumer. So philosophically, if you understand our plan, if we can put half the premiums back in that consumer's checking account day one, and we can eliminate the deductible, which is on average $8,000, and eliminate their coinsurance and get their medical bills paid, we can generally save that consumer or that family $10,000 to $15,000 before they ever go to the doctor. And then when they go to the doctor, they've got first dollar benefits. So we've got to create a value, and that's what we're doing. We're creating a great value proposition for the consumers. So the benefits are paid, and the direct amount, I don't know why this isn't showing up here.
I don't either. That's
weird.
I'll take responsibility for that. That's not Doug.
Okay.
Doug didn't do that.
We'll go in here. So you got a $5 million plan. So keep in mind, guys, these consumers do not need to be paying tens of thousands of dollars a year in premiums, deductibles, coinsurance, co-pays, admission charges before they get a return on their investment. What they need is money to pay their medical bills. And that's what we're providing. They also need money to protect their income if they have medical bills. That's what we'll provide for them. And they need rate stability, a great value, and we'll provide that for them with this package as well. So you've got 3 plans to choose from, 3 options. These are your price points. You can use any doctor or hospital you choose without penalty. However, we do have a national PPO network that we've purchased for the consumer. And the consumer, that's where you and I come in. We educate the consumer to shop and give them the tools to shop with. And when they understand the huge overbilling and over-repricing, then they can get these advantages to themselves, and you've developed an intelligent consumer we call a super consumer. Teladoc is an additional benefit. It's no cost to the consumer. Great benefit, and then we'll have a script card in it we'll talk about, and then obviously the CARES group, we'll talk about that, and the critical illness, dental, and optional life. So think of it as a bucket of money. You've got our top seller. You can choose $100,000, $250,000, or $1 million. So this is per person. Now our top seller is $250,000 aggregate per person. So think of it as a bucket of money. Each time you have a medical expense, you don't have a deductible, you don't have any coinsurance, we'll pay money out of that bucket of money to pay that medical expense. And by the way, your average repricing in network, guys, as you'll see, is between generally 40 to 60%, which is huge. So every family member has his own bucket of money, and every January he gets a brand new bucket of money. We refill the bucket. So when you get down here to your benefits, you've got 3 plans to choose from. We'll talk about plan number 2. Guys, most of you know I have this policy. I've had it for 7 years. I've averaged a 3% rate increase, and I've made money on every claim I've ever had. We'll talk about that later. But when you focus in on the 2-unit plan, our most popular plan, again, we need to educate the consumer because they've lived in a world where they have no idea what anything costs, which is insane, but we're going to fix that. When you go to the hospital, we're going to pay $3,000 a day to you or to the hospital. Generally, the hospital will file the claim. We'll electronically pay that to the hospital. For sickness, $3,000 a day. If it's in for an accident or injury, it's $6,000 a day. Now, we want to stop right there. We've got to educate the consumer because the consumer thinks it's $1 million a day at the hospital. because they've been taught that. Major medical policies do not need intelligent consumers. They need sheep, okay? And this is where we're gonna educate. So the average hospital room, I'll show you in the next slide or two. Well, it's right here. No, it's the next slide. Is generally about $2,000 a day. We've got those hospital room averages in your area. We'll get to you guys. So you can show and tell. We use evidence-based selling. We tell them and we show them what we're telling them. We use facts to sell off of and not what people think. So as you scroll down here.
Go down with it.
Okay.
Pass it.
Okay. Here's your, this is a new slide, guys. Sorry. So here's your average in your state. So we'll just use Texas here. As you can see, it's about $2,400 for state and local hospitals. Now, when you get into your PPO networking, your average repricing in Texas is about, I think, 47% at the hospital, if I recall. So what that means is, when your Texas hospital rates, if it's $2,500 a day, and they're in network, you're going to reprice that by between 40 and 50%. That's going to bring that down to about $1,300. Okay, that's all the client's going to owe for that daily room rate. And if he's got 2 units, we're paying, as you can see, we're paying $3,000, okay, or $6,000 for an access. So he's actually getting overpayment, okay. And that excess, that's called excess indemnity, and we will send a check to him, to the consumer, for that excess indemnity. Now, if you go into ICU, it gets higher, $4,500 and $6,000. Mental and nervous, substance abuse is $400 a day. Rehab, skilled nursing, as you can see, is $1,500 a day. Outpatient chemo, $1,500 a day. All of this stacks, guys, okay, until you reach your $250,000 a year. But keep in mind, that $250,000 per person is a bucket of cash money. So if you're getting your medical bills repriced by 40 to 50% or 60, that's $500,000 worth of sticker price medical bills. And when you understand the repricing, that's plenty of money, guys. So as you go down here, outpatient hospital and ambulatory care, again, no deductible. $3,000 for your room rate, and $1,500 if you're not put under general anesthesia, like a doctor's office or something like that. So again, generally going to be plenty of money to pay all your medical bills, especially if you're in network, and your consumers will be educated to stay in network. Dave, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, let me kind of explain this. You guys have probably heard me say that my favorite of the first day reduction is the 20%. I want to show you, and actually this was, we quantified this. So first of all, you only got so much dollars in the household, right? People have $300, $400, whatever it is a month to spend. So you got to spend it wisely. And Doug's going to show you the enhanced benefit rider. And Doug and I have talked about this. You should not sell this plan without the enhanced benefit rider. So you got to come up with that premium somehow. Well, let me tell you why this is important. And what this is going to show you is why the 20% first day in the hospital really is the best choice. First of all, only 30% or less of the folks go in the hospital. So why are we trying to push a richer benefit in the hospital if it's only going to benefit 30% of the people, right? 70% of the people never go. They use it on the outpatient. So what this shows, 40-year-old male and 40-year-old female, this could be Texas, California, Florida. These are our general rates, okay? 2 units, there it is, $3,000 a day for the as Doug said, for the sickness, $6,000 for the injury. There's $250,000, which is the most common, and a $5 million lifetime. So the first set says at 100% in the hospital, if you sell the 100% plan for this man and woman 40, the premium is $500.42 a month. That's the premium. Let's drop down to the last column, which is the 20%. If you sell the 20% plan, the premium for the man and woman is now $300.25. That is the difference, as you can see to the right, is $200.17 per month saving. Okay, it's very clear there by just going from the 100 to the 20. Multiply that by 12, so in a month's time, they will save $2,402.04 by moving from the 100 to the 20%. Now, below that, it's what that group says. If you sell them the 100% plan and it's a sickness, obviously we're going to pay $3,000 per stay. That's the full benefit. If you drop down to the last column, the 20%, we're going to pay 20% of the first day benefit, well, 20% of $3,000, is $600, correct? Okay, the $600 at 20% for the first day versus the 3,100% is what? That's a $2,400 difference, and you see it in the right column. So yes, we're paying $2,400 less the first day, but if you can look above that, you're saving them $2,402.04 in premium a year. So why would you sell them 100% when they're not going to use it and they need that money elsewhere?
So guys, with your traditional major medical, again, we know that at least 95% of your claims are going to apply towards that huge deductible. And with this product, you're reversing that. You're probably going to have 5% of your claims you'll have any kind of reduction of benefit, which is similar to a deductible. It'll come out of the check they're sent to the hospital, just like car insurance. So we're flipping that and giving them a better first dollar value again. And the average person is going to spend 2 nights or go to the hospital twice in his lifetime. And a lot of that's going to be over 65. So again, and the more technology we get, modern technology, people are doing, that's a huge amount of surgeries are on the outpatient.
Yeah. Hey, on this next slide, I want to point something out. Probably you guys are all experts, so you already know the answer, but you should ask your consumer if you're going through your buying customer, what do they think who do they think charges more, a for-profit hospital or a nonprofit? I'll bet you 98% of the time they're going to say, well, it only makes sense that a for-profit hospital, and they're making money, so they're going to charge more. If you look at this slide, on every slide, the nonprofit hospital is making more. So don't feel sorry for the nonprofit. They're making a killing.
So this is your professional services. This is your surgery schedule, guys. And when we're looking at the other competition, again, we're going to talk about this in coming up meetings. We're going to compare our products to our competition. But I can tell you we're way ahead of them, and you ought to see what we're filing right now. We won't get into that today, but it'll be in probably June or July, the new product. Way ahead of competition. But one of the unique things about our product versus most of our competition, when you talk about the defined benefit plans or indemnity plans, ours is fully transparent. Again, we know everything. The consumer knows how much money they have to work with. We know how much we're going to pay. There's no surprises. If they get it repriced underneath what we're paying, they're getting a check. That's a great incentive right there. They're not getting penalized. They're getting paid. And so they understand how it teaches them to shop. And the other carriers are not, when they pay their defined benefit plan, this is really the biggest difference. Because when you get into surgeries, most of our other competition on defined benefit plans, they will say we will pay up to $5,000 for a surgery or up to $8,000 for a surgery. Guys, you could have a surgery on your pinky or you could have brain surgery. And up to, anytime you see an up to, you better beware, okay? I saw a plan that paid up to $32,000 for cancer, whatever it was, and when you read into it, you had to do 40 different procedures to get the $32,000. So again, you want total transparency so that everybody knows how much money they have to spend. We're going to use the Medicare allowable surgery schedule, and if anybody's got a problem with indemnity plans, your grandmother's got an indemnity plan. It's the largest indemnity plan in the world. It's called a Medicare supplement. Try to take that away from your grandmother. So we take the RBRVS schedule, which the Medicare uses, and 1 unit is equal to what the Medicare allowable is. Now, we've learned that we have to educate ourselves if we're going to be professionals in the industry. We've learned that the surgeons will generally charge about 20% over what Medicare pays. So if you have 2 units, you're going to get 2 times what Medicare pays. 3 units is 3 times. This is how I received I think I got $11,000 overpayment on my shoulder surgery because of my additional, I made money on several places in there. So we'll talk about that in a minute.
Hey Doug, just a side note. We've talked a little bit about Dr. Chin and Mary and their relationship with the Department of Insurance. Just a side note, we're one of the only indemnity carriers in the state of Tennessee that has actually this schedule you just talked about. The competition all uses the old $1,000, $2,000, and $3,000, which we used to use, but we had, and Dr. Chin had connections and went over to visit with the Department of Insurance of Tennessee, and we were able to get them to put this schedule now. That's why Tennessee was always different. And I think we're the only indemnity carrier that has this full schedule, and that's because of Dr. Chin and Mary.
Yeah, guys, Dr. Chin is a brilliant man. He's not a doctor of medicine. He's a doctor of numbers. He understands risk, and he's our ace in the hole, guys. There are other indemnity plans out there, and there are other higher commissions out there, guys. There's only 100 pennies in a dollar. We've got the best value in the industry by far, and the other carriers are trying to copy us, a lot of them, but we're way ahead of them because we've got a Dr. Chin leading our charge. So.
Hey, can I give you a little tip here from Dr. Chin? He's an actuary. He's a numbers guy, probability and studies. So I was in Houston Monday, and he had the big P, the little tag on his suit had a P on it, and I forgot about this. So, guys, he graduated from Purdue with a doctorate degree in mathematics, and he looked at me and he said, Dave, Purdue's going all the way in the Final Four. So, you may take that to the bank, and they did last night, I think.
Well, he's obviously a brilliant man, and guys, this is why with Nash Group Marketing, I got to be very careful with companies we align ourselves with, and it's everything to our career in the future of the healthcare industry. But Dr. Chin is a brilliant man, and he wakes up every day, and the two most important people to this company is the consumer and the agent. And that's what we have to have. And he's a big patriot, so he understands this crisis on the country, and every day he's trying to focus on how to fix the problem. So it's going to come down to us as agents and the carriers we work with. We're either going to be the problem or we're going to be a solution to the problem. And Dr. Chin every day looks for a solution to the problem. And our carriers, the Pre-Market Medical Association, the hospitals and surgery centers, we're aligning ourselves right now as we speak, are creating a solution to the problem. They're not the problem. And the only missing piece is the consumer. We need to educate the consumer, and all of these three pieces, the carrier, the medical facility, and the consumer, are going to fix the healthcare crisis in this country, and that's exactly what we're doing right now. So when you go over here, make sure you, again, 2 units or 3 units are more than enough for your surgeon's fees, assistant surgeon's fees, your physician here, $100 a day. That's when he comes by the hospital and with his clipboard and checks on you. That's generally $150, reprices to about $75 when you're in network. And so all this stacks, again, plenty of money most of the time, and we're going to add some other policies on top of this to protect their income as well. So when you go down here, you're outpatient, you've got a separate bucket of money, 2 units, which I had the 2-unit plan for about 5 or 6 years. I moved to 3 units about a year ago. But if you have 2 units, then you've got a separate bucket of money for every member of the family, $4,000, and this bucket of money covers your doctor visits, labs, x-rays, where they live, the more common features. Obviously, the big bucket of money is going to cover your surgeries, chemotherapies, inpatient, outpatient surgeries, more minor claims here, and every January you get a brand new bucket of money. So when I go to the doctor, this is not a copay, and you've got to educate the consumer. We have no copays, okay? The consumer thinks that's got a $40 copay with the Blue Cross or Humana. They know it's a $120, $130 doctor visit, and all they have to pay is $40. What they don't realize is the Blue Crosses, they reprice it down to about $60. I think it's $66 repriced in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And the consumer's paying $40 of that $60 and think he's got a great deal. But again, that's the difference between the traditional major medicals and us. We're passing that savings on to consumers. If we're going to reprice it to $66, we're paying $80. So we're going to give $66 to the doctor, and we're going to send the $14 to the client in a check. We get checks all the time going out to clients. So again, better value, no deductible, no copay, no huge premium. Then when you get into the MRIs, you got to really make sure you educate the consumer, because this category here, MRIs, CAT scans, labs, are the largest discounts in the whole program. They generally going to run between $60 and $80. And obviously you see this pays $350 for an MRI, and you really got to educate the consumer because they've been trained to think an MRI is $2,000. And if they've got a Blue Cross and they've got a neighbor that says you can get an MRI over here for $400, and they go to that and get that $400 MRI, Blue Cross is not going to let that even apply towards their deductible, or they're going to double their deductible. So they're going to be forced to go to that higher MRI to keep from staying out of the penalty. So again, I got my MRI for $450, and my plan paid $525.
Okay, let me mention something, and I'm going to tell you at the end what we're doing in home office, some of the improvements we made. But I'm sitting in a meeting Monday in Houston, and Jeff works with me, Jeff Urbano, And he said, we got an agent that's upset. The client in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania needs a PET scan. They want $2,300. And we're paying 2 units, we're paying the $350. Okay, and they want $2,300, and they're freaking out. The first thing I did, and I'll challenge everybody on the call, go to Google, and I typed in discounted PET scan, PET scans in Harrisburg, PA. And there's a company that pops up, and I looked at it, found the number. They do them for $800. Okay, they post it online. So anyway, and by the way, these people had the enhanced benefit rider, which doubles the $350 to $700, right? So they took that $700 and against the $800, and I think it's $825, and you can look online. So folks, we're doing some things, and I'll talk to you later about what we do in home office. But agents, you got to be there for your customer. And all I did was typed in discounted PET scans in Harrisburg, PA. Tampa, Florida, I was there a couple of weeks ago, same thing. This stuff's out there, so you got to do a little bit of research for your customer.
Well, technology's on our side. Technology is changing, But guys, it's kind of like with the major meds. It's kind of like car insurance. Ford's not going to come out with all electric cars next year. They'll go broke. It's not their business model. The people that's going to change the automobile industry is the Teslas and the companies that don't have the old business model. We're the same way. So all of these benefits stack. Again, right here, $10 for brand name prescriptions or generic, and $20 for brand name. You're going to get a discount card we'll talk about in a minute. But again, no deductibles, no co-insurance. And always keep in mind, guys, you're generally going to save your client about 50% on his premiums. If you're putting $400, $500, $600 a month in his checking account, if he's out $100 or $200, no big deal. So he only saved $500 this month. So always keep that's an external benefit, the amount you're saving the client. So always have that in your hip pocket when you're visiting with as far as your value. Emergency rooms, we don't do a good job there. We're going to increase that here in a minute, but we want to steer the guys away from emergency rooms. We don't want them using an emergency room for a doctor. So again, we want to push them towards an urgent care facility, and we got some software coming that's going to help with that as well.
Right.
Ground and air ambulance, nothing special here. $500 for ground, $1,500 for there. Now we're going to put another $10,000 on top of this with our accident policy here in a minute, and then preventative care, $125 a year per person. Then obviously a colonoscopy stack, $300 a year. Now, guys, you always have the option to increase. Obviously, you can increase the emergency care rider for pennies on the dollar at a $50,000 accidental death benefit. But this is the main thing I want to talk about, the enhanced benefit rider. You'll be able to stack this on top of this, and it will double it. Okay, so it will literally double. The $4,000 now is $8,000. The $80 is $160 for doctor visits. So whether you're in network or not, your clients are going to make money. Okay, so what's the average premium increase on this, Dave?
On this one, okay, it's about 25%. So it's $25 for every $100 of premium. So it's for the family, we average about $3.25. So it's about $80. $80 a month. But look at the benefits. Look at the outpatient surgery increase for the colonoscopy with a polyp or a cataract. You add $1,500 to $3,000 or $4,500. Right. It's a no-brainer. Do not sell without this.
So we are doubling all the outpatient. You're doubling your bucket of money, doubling your daily benefits. And guys, with no deductible, no co-pays, you're still going to be saving money on their premiums. You're getting plenty of money to pay their medical bills. You're giving them passing on the discount PPO network savings to them and teaching them how to be a educated, intelligent consumer. What a great concept.
Hey, guys.
Yes.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Okay, this is Scott Foster. Hey, guys. Just wondering, because I've had a few customers question this. Up on in the MRI lab visit section, okay, so here it says pays per covered person. They're thinking that's a daily benefit, and they only get one lab payment per day. Is that true, or do we pay that much if they get 5 labs a day each time?
On that line where you see all those, we pay one of those tests per day. So if some were to, and I don't think they do it, but if they did 2 MRIs in one day, we still can only pay 1. That is a requirement.
Now I'm talking about lab tests.
Same thing. Anything in that category there, anything in that whole category is a 1 per day. It was, Scott, just so you know, when we started, it was multiple. We could pay 3 per day, whatever. The prior president in that regime, HHS, was trying to kill these plans. You guys know that. And so one of the ways they did it said you can only pay, it has to be fixed benefit. You can only pay one of those per day. That's what happened.
Gotcha. Thank you very much.
Guys, I would, like we talked about earlier, I would, obviously on your high end, you want to really get your rates down by, making sure you get the largest reduction of benefit only if you're admitted to the hospital so that you can load up on your outpatient. The richer the outpatients, this is where they live. So, you're talking about even if you do 3 units, you're about $200 doctor visits, and they go in and get the bill repriced to $66, guys. They're going to be a lot of money in their pocket. So, yeah.
You won't be able to rip it from them. Yeah. They'll love this place.
Yeah. Question.
Doug?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Kent Long in Oklahoma City. Hey, what Dave is saying can't be overstated. When he's talking about doubling the outpatient benefits, there's one word that this thing equals: retention.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
People will stay on this plan because they will get an EOB one day where their whole bill was paid and they get a $10 or $20 remittance back on their EOBs, like I do for my kids all the time. This will drive retention.
Yep, absolutely.
So when you know the household budget, you mentally need to make sure you add this rider in there. Don't start with the inpatient facility, 100, the 250 and 100%. Start with this and work backwards because, as you said, this is retention, guys. 70% of the people are going to use this benefit.
Yeah. Well, guys, and now we want to get in. We always keep in mind we give them one price. We call this a health and income protection package or program. Why do we do that? Again, evidence-based selling, we know that the number one reason for home foreclosures or bankruptcies are medical bills. And 65%, or actually 78% of the folks that went broke due to medical bills had a major medical policy in force. So what does that tell us? That tells us
Doug?
a major medical policy. Yes. Question.
David Eisenberg in Florida. When is the enhanced benefit rider going to be available in Florida? Is it scheduled? Because I think right now it's not available in Florida.
Yeah, I love Florida. It's a great place, but Florida Department of Insurance is not the easiest to deal with. We filed it with the rider. They kicked it back. We were going to rebut it, and we were going to respond to that. The reason we didn't is because we are coming out with a new product, and we'll talk about that later. Well, we didn't want to refile to try to get the enhanced benefit rider added to that because the new product that we're coming out with is going to have the rider built into it. So we'll talk about that later in this.
Yeah, the new product, guys, we're real excited about. Yeah. And back to what I was saying, guys, we need to protect these. We're dealing with self-employed and people, that aren't getting government subsidies. That's our market. People that don't have government subsidies and people that are make a living and that aren't sick or sickly. They need to be at the ACA if they have government subsidies or health issues. So we want to protect their income as well. And with a major medical, it's basically just going to protect the income of the hospital or doctor. It's an income protection plan for doctors and hospitals. We need to protect our clients' income. So we always want to put a critical illness policy or rider on the plan. I prefer a policy. That way, when the guy gets 65, he doesn't lose his CI rider when he needs it the most. You want to keep it. You don't lose your residuals. So we're going to put do you have a CI in here, Dave? This is a new product. We'll put a critical illness policy. It's a lump sum. It's not a specified benefit. Now, obviously, you guys know that triples your commissions. A very rate-stable product. You always add that to the primary breadwinner to protect his income. If he gets flat on his back with a heart attack or stroke or cancer, he doesn't need to be stressed about losing his home. So we're going to add that to the plan, and also we're going to add the accident rider, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Now, the value-added benefits, Build Up American purchased these and put this in our plan at no additional cost to the consumer. And obviously the CARES group, some of you guys know it's done wonders. And obviously Teladoc, Script Saving CARES group. Teladoc is fantastic. I've used it several times. There's no copay in our program. When you get your policy, you want to educate the consumer to call in and get his profile set up. It's about a 10-minute call. And anytime he gets hurt, anytime he gets sick, especially, you can call a doctor, have one on the phone in 30 seconds. and they'll call in his prescription.
Hey, I'm going to go back 2 slides. I want to tell you guys, I'm fortunate in home office. I get to see unfortunately, I see some of the bad stuff. We just had a claim on a gentleman. He has a small business in Lubbock, Texas, and the agent sold sold it to him it was effective January 1. Sold him a 50,000 CI with a health plan. The gentleman had a stroke, actually this month in March, had a stroke. And the agent got a hold of me and said, wow, what do you think? And I said, well, we're going to investigate to make sure there's no prior history. We did investigate. Obviously, we got medical records. We showed that it was payable. And guys, this was written in December, effective January 1. We sent him a $50,000 check for the CI. The guy, you cannot believe, through the agent in contact. I'm trying to get him to see if we could release it to you guys. The guy said, you saved my business. You saved my home. I mean, you can't overstate what that means.
Yeah, guys, most people have all their money tied up in a grossly overinflated major medical with a huge deductible, lots of co-insurance, huge premiums, huge rate increases, and they need to redefine their premiums into a defined benefit plan with a huge critical illness policy. And with great accident, disability, and so forth in life, we can come in there and get all well-rounded with life insurance as well. A lot of you guys are putting life in investments. You're saving the guy $500, $600, $700 a month, guys. We average $5,000 to $10,000 a year per family member in savings, and you can do an awful lot with that money, reinvest in life insurance, critical illness, and so forth. So for the consumer.
So you don't want to be the agent that you get that phone call and you find out that they had a heart attack, stroke, cancer, and you didn't add that.
I've had agents do that, guys. Yeah. I've had clients call an agent and say, why didn't you, are you selling critical illness? Well, we have it. Why didn't you show it to me? I'm in the hospital. Hey, I'm losing my phone. Question, yeah.
Yeah, Canton, Oklahoma City. Hey, want to reemphasize, when this thing started taking off for me was when Doug Chapman had a guy named Tim Harvey come in and declare war on major medical. The more you understand about major medical, you will understand that major medical is the driving force behind the price inflation at the hospitals. Major medical is the problem, not the solution. And you need to read one of their policies and read the UNC clauses. The usual and customary clause says we pay the usual and customary charges, which sounds pretty standard. In the back of the policy it says we're the arbitrator of what's usual and customary, meaning they pay whatever the hell they want to pay.
Yeah. So, in fact, Kent, you and I will be with Dr. Smith, and Dave will be up next week?
April 11th.
April 11th, 3-day seminar.
April 11th.
All these doctors' hospitals. We're going to be throwing a lot of doctors, surgery centers, hospitals, you guys, that are a solution to the problem and not part of the problem. So,
Doug, let me mention this. I've got another second call with a group, actually out of Edmond, Oklahoma, and they own some urgent care centers and are buying up ambulatory and surgical centers across the country. And we're working on them to allow that our people, our policyholders, could use them and literally be out of pocket with our 2-unit plan or greater, be out of pocket zero if they have to go in there.
Yeah, we're meeting with hospitals. We met with one over in Austin. The guy looks at, you got to pay 2 times RVRVS. We'll take that carte blanche. Your clients will be out of dime to come here.
So we're working for you guys.
Yeah, it's a great product, guys, but it's new, and we're the tip of the spear, guys, and we're changing healthcare across the country. And I'm going to show you a couple things before we get off here today that I think the government's going to jump in and help us as well. So Teladoc, great benefit. You don't have to spend half a day going to the doctor. You can call them. They'll call you in a prescription. You'll love it. Your clients will love this. Again, technology, guys. CARES 360. Guys, what CARES does is 3 things. They've got a health navigator. And by the way, I don't know what it costs, but it's probably $500,000 to put this in our plan. It's very expensive.
You know what? You're not far off.
Yeah.
You're not far off. That's what we pay.
So what happens? The health navigator, what they'll do is, and I just tell people, anytime you have an MRI, I'll give you an example. I needed an MRI on my shoulder surgery, and I called CARES. They gave me 10 places in my zip code in about 5 minutes actually, and told me how much, who was in network, who wasn't, the cash price. And I picked one out. They set me up, told me what to expect, what to bring, put me on a VIP list. I went in and got it. And Philip American paid the claim and sent me a check for $100, overpayment. So, again.
Hey, Doug.
Yes. Question.
Hey, Doug. It's Juan. Hey, Dave. How you guys doing?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, I just wanted to say really quick, I know I cut you off, Doug, and I apologize for that, but I wanted to mention something too. I know there's, close to 100 people listening in the call, and Dave, you and I talked about this on the cruise. Let me tell you something first, and then I'll tell you why I'm saying it. So I got a customer text me yesterday a copy of a text that he got, which is somewhat of a spam text, a mass text, and it said something along the lines of the MultiPlan PHCS / Health Protector Guard United Healthcare Golden Rule Plan has been getting a lot of complaints and blah, 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 and then they were trying to sell them these other plans. So we know that Protector Guard is another indemnity plan that's a competitor. They don't stand a chance next to our benefits. But whenever anybody comes across something like this, and there is a very important tool I've used since day one, and I think that everybody should know about this, is if you pull up the Texas Department of Insurance company profile and you pull up Philadelphia American, there's 0 complaints in the last 3 rolling years. Not only that's, an incredible achievement as a company because of how, Dr. Chen and Mary managed the company, want to take care of what you mentioned earlier, the customer and the agent, but it shows every bit of transparency from the company, from incorporation date to financials to whatever you can pull up. Anybody who's listening right now, get the Texas Department of Insurance company profile, search on Google, and type Philadelphia American, save that link, and send it to any customer, whoever asks, who is this company? Never heard of them. And this is going back to somebody saying, I never heard of, the MultiPlan. You don't want to go to the doctor and say, I got Philadelphia. No, you want to tell them you've got the PHCS plan. And then it comes back to the BBB. So somebody pulls out Philadelphia American in the Better Business Bureau and it says non-rated. It doesn't matter. People paid to be rated. This is not the Department of Insurance. The Better Business Bureau is a profitable organization that makes $2,500 per state that you want to be registered in as a company in order to be rated. So this is just, for us to be able to back up the company and say, this is the kind of company that we're giving you as a client against our competitors. But I just thought it was very important for people to know what the company represents as backing the consumers and the agents. So thanks for giving me a second there, Doug.
Thank you for that, Juan. We appreciate your input.
Juan, this is Dave. Would you,
hey, Dave.
I think it's important in this call because we've had some of this. Would you kind of go over what happened with your client / doctor that went to the doctor in Rockwall and the doctor said we're not in the network and you jumped in there? Kind of tell us what's going on. I think that's important.
Yeah, that was an interesting little scheme there. So the client went to called the doctor. He pulled the network, right? He's got the link. He went to the network, found the doc, and he's had the plan for 8 months by now, or back then. And he, at this point, he needed a doctor, so he went to the doctor in the network. Or actually, he calls, makes an appointment. Doctor says, "Who do you have?" And he's like, "All right, I'll email you my card." So doctor pulls up the card and says, "Oh, we don't accept this plan." So tells him, initial consultation is going to be $365 or whatever the heck it was. So at the end of the day, I hear from you, Dave, I hear about this customer making a complaint in the BBB. I'm like, this guy never called me. And I stay in touch with my customers relentlessly. So, and he was a referral from my primary doctor, who is also my client. He's insured as a physician with Philadelphia. So I called him, and he said, "Oh, this is ridiculous." I called the doctor, and he said he didn't take it. So I said, "Okay, well, I wish you would have called me, but let's deal with it from this point forward." So I called the doctor's office, and I said, "You're active in the network," and they said, "Well, we don't accept it." So I called PHCS, verified they're in the network. PHCS stepped in and says, "We will call because we have a contract. We will call the provider and remind them how their contract works and potential repercussions of not, sticking to their contract." So needless to say, that was right here in DFW. And it happened to be a larger organization of doctors that I go to. So it was just a different physician in the same organization. So once I figured that out, I called him and I tried to play the game as myself and figured out that they were treating me different than my client. So I dug a little bit deeper. Then I've got, of course, to upper management in the doctor's office, and conversation was very simple. Say, look, you're in this contract. I don't think you want to be reported to any authority or organization who controls you for trying to finagle numbers and overcharge somebody so they can dig no bill. The first response was, well, we're gonna charge your customer a certain amount, and we'll go ahead and take him in the network. And they said, well, look, first of all, that dollar amount you're charging him is not the same amount you charge me. Oh, I'm sorry, that was an oversight. We're going to do this now. And I said, look, that's fine. However, when you're doing that, you are not giving your customer a itemized bill, correct? No, we're not. Why? Because we're giving a discounted price. Well, that is not per state regulation. You need to give anybody who purchases a service from you any type of itemized bill with any CPT codes related to their health care. So at the end of the day, I got that arranged. It worked out. The customer himself was upset that one of the things that he read, and this is, I guess, a learning thing for all of us, is when somebody pulls out the PHCS network, there is a Texas required lawful statement at the bottom. Or actually, it may just be the network's, statement, I'm not sure. But it says something along the lines of, we don't guarantee coverage, blah, blah, blah. Well, of course they don't. There's just a network of people that accept discounted rates, that's all. Recognized, respected, old, and one of the largest in the nation, but they still got clauses and disclosures. So the customer thought that had to do with Philadelphia. So he made a complaint in the BBB about Philadelphia, not realizing that was the network. So at the end of the day, almost saved that situation, but it didn't. It actually stopped there. It didn't get any worse. He was able to get his service. I don't know, Dave, if he reactivated his policy or not within the lapse period, but he was able to get a service for his wife and moved on. And since, Dave, I don't think you know this, but since
where
he sent me a referral from his family.
Insurance, we had a doctor that has our insurance go to a place, and they said they didn't take that insurance. They were in the PPO network.
Okay, guys, guys, Juan, thank you for your input. We appreciate that, and all the veterans chiming in. We're dragging here. We're gonna keep moving here. But guys, this is a new product. I went over to Mother Francis Hospital and with one of my clients that they weren't giving this discount. And when I talked to the manager, they'd never seen anything like this, and they figured out it was the discount, and they apologized and gave him this discount. This is a revolutionary product. They've never seen anything like it. And obviously the powers that be, the huge major medicals do not want this. They're coming out, they'll have indemnity plans, but they'll be very weak indemnity plans because they do not want to replace their business model. We will, but they won't. They're not going to come out with great indemnity plans because they're not going to replace the business model they've had for 50 years. And they're going to fight us against it. So this is, again, it's revolutionary. And you've heard me say it before, the pioneer is the guy sometimes with his face in the mud and hairs in his back, or he's the guy with all the land. So we've been fighting this battle for 10 years, and it's getting better and better. We're winning it. So because we're educating the consumers, and they've had it with these ridiculous rates. When somebody wants to say, well, we've never heard of you, I want to go to Blue Cross because I've had them 20 years. You've had 20 years worth of rate increases. You're paying $28,000 a year to them so they can go pay your medical bills. And 97% of all your medical bills for people under the age of 65 is under $35,000. And you want to go that route. So what we're doing is creating a value for them. We're protecting their income. As you can see here, just back to the Caris Surgery Saver, they'll give you 5 locations with bundle rates if you have a surgery in your area, and you'll know exactly what that surgery is going to cost you before you ever go have it. What a concept. I called a lady about 8 months ago, went to get a colonoscopy, and I called around to get a cash price, and I called the gal, and I said, yeah, I want to get a colonoscopy, and I was wondering how much it's going to cost. She said, who's your carrier? And I said, I'm going to be self-paid. I just need to know the price. She stuttered something, said, well, we can't give you that. We can't tell you how much it's going to cost until after you're a patient. And I started laughing. I said, are you kidding me? I'm a businessman. You're telling me, would you go buy a car for somebody that wouldn't tell you how much it's going to cost you until after you buy the car? It's insane, but that's the way they operate. It's because they can. The only people going to fix that is from the grassroots movement, from us, from grassroots us, and that's what we're doing. So, Terrace Bill Negotiator, anytime you have a bill, the third thing they do for you is if you have a balanced bill, let's say you're out of network or we don't pay the full bill and you're out $5,000, $10,000, you know, so what? You're out that every time you go to the hospital for major medical, your deductible and co-insurance. But we will go in there, Terrace will, and negotiate that down, anything over $2,500. And as some of you guys have seen, they average 70% once they get involved, and 24% of the time the client pays nothing. So huge benefits at their disposal, guys. Great benefits and great value. What is this, Dave?
That's an actual.
Oh, this is okay. This is an actual. Yeah, this is the one. Jimmy. Okay, as you can see, this is Terrace got involved. Had a $63,000 balance bill, and a guy had one unit, and then got it down to what was it, 66?
96.
Yeah, 66.96.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, phenomenal. $6,696. So again, you can see amazing, and as a matter of fact, just amazing what they can do. So again, we don't use.
Hey, Doug, can I ask one thing just real quick for some clarification, please?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I had a client ask a question. Way earlier in the conversation, you talked about paying outpatient benefits. We only pay one a day, talking about like a lab. We only pay a lab benefit once a day, but if you had like an $80 benefit and 4 $20 labs, we'll pay the 4 different labs. We'll just only pay one benefit a day, and it'll just go as far as possible. That's correct, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I just want some clarification. Hey, you can have 2 MRIs. If you only have $350, it'll just go as far as the $350 goes.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Correct? Okay. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
You bet. Okay, guys, prescription card, guys. Again, this is a great discount card. I've used it, and obviously you guys know, most of you know about the PRAM card. If you have any pre-existing conditions, we'll bring in the PRAM. We're going to be training on that in the next couple of weeks. Pretty heavy. You click on your prescription save. As you can see here, I actually take a cholesterol medication, and this is an actual cost here. It gives your client all the knowledge to shop with. It shows all the pharmacies in his area and what he can get this prescription from. So there's no copay, no deductible. It's the only part of the program that's a true reimbursement. So as you can see here, you can either go pay $70, you can go to Walmart and pay $11. Now, a different drug may be reversed. You may need to go to CVS, and Walmart may be higher, but at least you know. Okay? And again, it's all relative, guys. You guys heard the story about the Blue Cross guy that said, you're only paying $20 for drugs. I got a $35 copay at Blue Cross. Well, I had to show him that he had a $700 deductible before he got to his copay. He was paying $149 a month for his drug card. So he was paying $2,500 a year to Blue Cross, so he could then pay him a $35 copay if he needed a drug. 90% of drugs are $100. And I told him, I'm saving you $350 a month, putting in your checking account, and I'm repricing your meds and paying you every time you get it. So again, value is what we're talking about. But if you don't educate that consumer, and the money he's paying is a variable, guys, and the money you're saving is an external benefit. So again, the sizzle that sells the steak, I think the key to our whole program is us transferring this huge discounts from the multi-plan PHCS and letting the consumer have those instead of us pocketing as a company. Because the way our business model is designed, not to save us money, we're going to pay the same no matter where they go. We really don't care. We're showing them and teaching them how to shop, and that's how you create an intelligent consumer. When they benefit, we don't penalize them for going there so that we can save the money. We reward them for going there and let them save the money. This creates a consumer that shops, which, again, he will go to providers that are providing wholesale rates has nothing to do with the quality of their care. And we're developing an educated consumer. This is why we have 3% average rate increases on our health plan. Okay, provider search, you can look it up. This is key. Always pull up your providers, make sure their doctor's in. Most of the time, he's in network anyway. And if he's not, and they just want to go to him, okay, they may be out $40. So what? They got a $40 copay, because he's not network. Or you can, when you put the double benefit on there, it's not going to matter if he's in network or not. Okay. But again,
hey, Doug?
This is how you look it up. Yes, Ken.
Yes. It's David again. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Have you guys done any analysis on the difference between the in-network discount versus just cash paying discounts that doctors offer?
A good point. Every doctor's got a cash price, so if you find yourself out of network at a doctor or facility, always tell them you're self-pay. And sometimes it's actually better than the PPO repricing. Myself, I had a detached retina surgery about 3 years ago, and I paid cash here in Dallas, and they repriced it from $5,900 to $2,880. Obviously, my room rate on 2 units paid $3,000. My surgeon's fees was $1,608 times 2. That's $3,200, and then so I think I got about $7,000.
There's a check here.
On my detached retina surgery, and I paid $2,880, and I paid cash price because I was in a hurry. I was about to go blind in that situation. Here's an actual reprice claim for those of you who haven't seen it. This is actually in Tyler, Texas.
Who was the agent on this, Doug?
This was me.
I know.
First guy I ever sold. Tyler, Texas, Mike Best. Cut 2 fingers off, guys. And but anyway, it wasn't fun. Yeah, but so you can see his bill was $1,780, but because he was in network, it was repriced to $896. In Tyler, Texas, Mother Francis, $49.76. This is the guy that they wouldn't give him his discount. This was back in 2011.
2011.
Yeah. And they would give him a discount they never seen. I'd go down to the billing office and say, no, this is not a discount card like these Mickey Mouse Association. This is PPO. And she took the card, went back, talked to her manager, come back and said, we're sorry, we've never seen anything like this ever. We'll give him his repricing instantly. It went from $32,000 to $18,000.
Now, I hate to brag on the agent, but I always do it. So you, the agent, sold them the 2-unit accident plan, $4,000. Look at the $896 at the top. That's for the anesthesiology. Down here is the surgeon at $4,361, which is about $5,200. Well, guess what? We pay $4,000 for the accident. And what about the $1,000 for the dismemberment?
Yeah, I paid that for the dismemberment too. Right.
I covered all those 2 bills.
And I said, and he said, Doug, I had World Insurance at the time. Major Medical had a $5,000 deductible, another 30% co-insurance. He said, I figured it up, Doug. I would have been out $11,000 with my Major Medical policy, and I'm not out anything here, actually. And he said, and you're saving me, I think I saved him $7,000 a year of his premiums. He couldn't thank me enough. Okay, so, but again, you have to educate them. And this was one of the first ones I ever sold, so we had to go down there and slap Mother Francis around a little bit and make them, because they had no idea, they'd never seen anything like it. Guys, we want different. We don't want the same. We don't need the definition of insanity in our lives anymore. We have got to fix this healthcare problem, and that's what we're doing. So, what is this? Another standalone?
Another standalone going out of business. People are getting the message.
Yeah. So, again, you got Healthcare Blue Book, a lot of tools. As you can see here, what a colonoscopy, biopsy, and all this stuff costs. You can type in, there's mdsave.com. Technology, guys, is just like the car business. The Ford and Chevys are not going to change the car business. It'll put them out of business. They've got gas engines, and they'll put the mechanics out, the gas stations out. The people that are going to change is technology and the new companies coming in with better value to the consumers. And that's who we are. Free Market Medical. We'll be talking a lot more of this in the future after our meeting, our conference here. So, again, great value, guys. Surgery centers, we're running late here, so we're going to speed it up here a little bit. But Surgery Center of Oklahoma, Green Imaging, MRIs.
Doug, this is important. Yeah. Look at this. They give you the PET scans, MRIs that we talked about. Go to the next slide. Where are they located? That's just from their – they're all over the country, folks.
Yeah. So what we are, the professional insurance agent that's going to be wealthy, quite frankly, because there's going to be a huge transfer of wealth in this industry. from the major medical dinosaur over to the new health insurance. We're the tip of the spear, but we're no longer order takers where I was one for years. What deductible do you want? A major medical, and every year I'd have to rewrite them because of rate increases. We're educators now. We're bringing meaningful benefits, but we have to sit down and educate that consumer and teach them how to use their products and how to save this money. They've got to help us help them, but we can definitely help them.
I want to say about this real quick. Solus Mammography, they're in North Texas. Actually, they're in a number of states. I'll show you, too. This is actually my wife. I sent her in there. I said, take the credit card, tell them you want a mammogram, and if they ask about insurance, you tell them I'm private pay. She did that, and there's the EOB, $99 from here in Dallas. Well, guess what? We pay $125 under our policy. Right. We sell the enhanced benefit rider. We pay $250.
So, like I said, with the major medical, you're paying a third-party administrator company with a lot of bureaucracy to get between the patient and the doctor relationship. With us, we're right there with the patient. We're giving them the discounts. We'll send the money to the patient, or we'll send the money to the doctor electronically. And generally, we'll pay it electronically to the doctor. So,
on the way out, that lady told my wife, she said, "You're smart because if you hadn't billed into your insurance, it'd be $400."
Correct.
Here's where they're located. They're all over the country, guys.
Right. Yeah. So, guys, this is actually my claim here, and we'll move forward here. But I had a shoulder surgery, most of you know, here at Star Medical, a state-of-the-art surgery center. My physician was nationally recognized. He was with the New England Patriots for 15 years. Awesome surgeon. But as you can see here, my bill was $11,395, but it was discounted at $7,251, guys. This is the repricing. And the bill was ended up being $4,100. My plan paid $10,900. I have no deductible, no co-insurance. So they sent a check electronically to Star Medical for the $4,144. And as you can see here, they sent me a check for $6,771. Now I got another $4,000 for my accident. So I got $11,000. Then I made $125 on my MRI because I went to Clearview. So again, guys, it's I made a lot of money, to be honest with you. But had I had a major medical, I would have been out. Blue Cross would have repriced this, or Humana. This is how they make their money, and they've got the major medical guys are always going to hit their profit margins because they've got two purge valves, I call them, pressure valves. One of them is the premium. All they have to do is increase the premium to the consumer, the 20% they do every year on average, or they raise the deductible. That's their two pressure valves. They're always going to hit their profit because if they raise the deductible, they're not going to pay as many claims. And I've had a guy tell me last year, well, I only went up 3% on me. Great. Let me ask a question. What did they do with your deductible? Well, they changed my plan. Well, they gave you less benefits and they charged you 3% more. So again, evidence-based selling, 97% of claims are under $35,000, and 65% of home foreclosed bankruptcy due to medical bills. So again, we're addressing those issues. And average family deductibles, again, family four is going to be $28,000 this year, the cost of insurance. So again, shop around. Who's this, Dave?
That's one in Pennsylvania.
One in Pennsylvania. Another claim here paid.
Yeah, the client put $7,000 in their pocket.
Yeah. We had a guy in East Texas get a $40,000 check a few years ago after he spent 7 days in the hospital. So we're gonna get this out to you guys.
One more I want to say. This is important. This guy is a writer in the local Dallas paper, but I think this is important. He writes a healthcare article every week. He said patients had to pay higher deductibles and copays, but that hasn't worked. Kind of what Doug just said. What has? A big California employer set a reference price for procedures, which is what we do, right? Reference-based pricing, and refused to pay more. Guess what happened to the other providers? They started matching the discounts.
Right.
Very important.
So, like Dr. Smith says, the gig is up. The consumers are becoming more intelligent and starting to ask questions. And power is knowledge.
Doug, do you think anybody wants to see the new proposed plan?
You guys want to see the new plan? I guess we'll show it to you since it's right here.
Kent, Juan?
So I hate to show it to you guys until it's out, to be honest with you. But
yes.
You're increasing the aggregate to $250,000, $500,000, and $1 million. And then obviously we're getting rid of the $100 and $500 deductible, guys, just so you'll know. That's going to be out of there. That's wasted space. But You can go to $1,000, $2,500, $7,500, or $10,000 deductible only if you spend the night in the hospital. That's going to bring this rate down on the left side. And then obviously you can see your large daily room rates here. And then obviously your outpatient benefits are being increased as well. And we're not spending a lot of time on this because I don't want to get into it until we actually have it to sell. But it's going to be great coverage here, and the rates are going to be great as well. I want to show you a couple of quick things, guys, before we adjourn. Interesting enough, a couple of things came out last week in the Dallas paper and the National Washington Post. Interesting. Something we've been talking about for years. Price transparency could help lower bills. Imagine being able to shop for a knee replacement the way most people shop for a flight. Okay, I'm not spending a lot of time. We'll email this to you. This is where everything's headed. This is where technology is bringing us. And it's, as you can see here, they're talking about how much the prices vary according to HHS. A recent study over here helped as much as $47,000 for a knee replacement, or as little as $6,200. Same knee replacement. Okay, so again, here's another one: hip replacement, $6,700, or you can pay $44,000. They can't explain the difference. The hospitals can't explain the difference there. It's just markup. So again, this is interesting. And here's one more thing before we go. This is out of Washington. Whether you like Trump or not, he's a businessman. He's going after the prescription drug companies, bringing that down, and I think he'll go after, as you can see here, they're going to be doing some things on regulating the pricing here with forcing the medical cares to peel back the onion and do price transparency. They're going to start showing how much they actually will charge for these surgeries instead of the hidden cost, because this is something they don't want you to know. So, again, these things are heading our way, and it's changing in the industry, and it's coming our way. So this is the future of healthcare. We always add accident policies on top of each plan. Why do we do that? Because it's going to double your commission, but it's also going to create double indemnity for 68% of your claims. We call that Aflac on steroids. So always sell the health, the accident, the critical illness, and obviously you can put the dental. Your use generally going to come in about 50% of what they're paying for that major medical.
God, I got to
You're going to stabilize their premium. Kent, hey, somebody's on the call, Kent, so you need to start your phone.
I'm sorry?
Anyway, guys, we'll let you go. We're getting a lot of background noise.
I just
I want to mention two things. Kent, listen. Two things we're doing in home office. This last week, we just released a new electronic provider platform.
Yeah.
Somebody on this call has probably had providers or clients calling saying their doctor can't get through. We've automated that, so it's all the providers now can log in and get the health ticket and get the information.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll we've rerouted a lot of the calls to help that. Secondly, what we've also done is actually today we're rolling out our new. We got a new partner. It's going to be part of the company. And we've added a 24-hour customer service phone line so that customers can call at 9 o'clock at night and get through to our customers now. And so that will start today. We've been testing it all week. So what I'm telling you is in California and other states, they'll be able to call 24 hours a day now. And obviously, if somebody calls at midnight and has a claim question, they can go through real quickly and answer it. But if it's a research, they can still take the call, take the information, email claims so that claims can respond the next day. So we're going to dramatically enhance our customer service experience for your clients.
So you're with the Care guys every day that wakes up every day with Dr. Chin, and he's trying to figure out, and we are the solution to the healthcare issue. There is no fix-all for everything, but we're the best thing going out there. We're having a lot of fun and doing well. Any questions? You guys want to star 6 in? They can comment a question before we adjourn. Any of the managers have any comments? You have to star 6 in. Okay, guys. Well, listen, we appreciate you joining us. Your question? Anybody?
Yeah. Just this is just an example of when I started running with Doug about 7-8 years ago. It's just one thing after another how the company has continued to improve. I sat with Dr. Ken one time, and he said, Kent, we want to be the most consumer-oriented product in the marketplace, and they're proving it. Thanks, Dave. Really appreciate that.
Thank you, Kent.
Great call. Thank you, guys. Great call.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend. See you.